My narrative starts with a phone call that completely upended my preconceived notions about my existence. I was laying in a hospital bed in Seattle on a cold morning, feeling very exhausted. I tried to concentrate on the heart monitor's steady beep, but the walls of the hospital room felt like they were closing in on me. I was so tired that I had passed out at the grocery store, and now my only concern was for my unborn child. A ringing sound broke the stillness. I saw James's name when I quickly peered at the computer. As I responded, my heart fell, waiting for a nod of encouragement or concern. Rather, his tone was acerbic and tinged with annoyance. "Sam, where are you now? Why can't you just crumble whenever I need you?" His comments surprised me, slicing right through me. I shook as I attempted to explain, saying, "James, I'm in the hospital. Stress made me faint. To make sure the baby is doing ok, they are keeping me here for a few days." He answered in a chilly, nearly uncaring manner, "You're off lounging in the hospital, and we're here starving and waiting for your horrible cooking. I'm done. My dad and I are going to a restaurant. You will have to find a way home on your own." His angry, misguided fury made me feel alone and powerless. He seemed to be saying that my battle was only a nuisance to him, even though I was fighting desperately to protect our child. My heart hurt for the little life growing inside of me, exposed to such hostility, as well as for my personal anguish. Before all of this commotion, my life felt almost like a dream. I had put my all into my work as a successful manager at a designer boutique. I got great joy from helping clients achieve their ideal look and from being acknowledged for my efforts throughout the day. I cherished the confidence my work gave me. After James entered the picture, our brief courtship seemed straight out of a fairy tale. We got married soon, and I found out I was pregnant not long after. The news was exciting at first. We dreamed of our life after the baby and all of its responsibilities. But my doctor's recommendation was a sharp departure from our hopes. In order to reduce my chance of miscarriage, I had to quit my job. Though it was a difficult choice, I made it with our family's future in mind. I had no idea that this choice would cause my relationship with James to deteriorate. As the pregnancy went on, I struggled with both the physical and emotional aspects of the changes. James was no longer as excited as he was frustrated. Even seemingly basic chores, like cleaning the house or cooking meals, felt daunting these days. James would frequently gripe about the little things, such how I wasn't cooking well or how messy the house wasn't to his satisfaction. His remarks hurt, and his once comforting support had become scathing criticism. James was under constant stress, made worse by his parents' criticism. They seemed to have a never-ending list of grievances regarding my home management and housekeeping abilities. Their critical visits on a regular basis made me feel even more inadequate. They frequently chastised me for being unprepared and expected courtesy in addition to demanding food on short notice. I had the impression that I was constantly being observed, and no matter how hard I tried, nothing seemed to work. I remember one really trying day when I went food shopping and the weight of everything got to be too much. I fell to the ground in the middle of the store because my legs gave out. I was in the hospital when I woke up, surrounded by medical professionals. They informed me that I had passed out from exhaustion and that I would need to stay for a few days in order to protect the babies and my health. The only thing that kept me going while I lay there was thinking about our child and hoped James would show some sign of understanding. However, his response to my call informing him of my whereabouts was everything but comforting. "I meant to care that you fell and collapsed. Why didn't you pick up when I called? You move so slowly." His stern remarks stood in sharp contrast to the assistance I required. His voice was almost palpable and angry, and it was obvious that he was more annoyed by the bother than worried about my well-being. As I ended the call, tears streamed down my face. I felt utterly alone, my heart heavy with both physical and emotional pain. It was in this vulnerable moment, amidst the isolation and despair, that I hoped for something, anything, to change. I needed support, and little did I know, A beacon of hope was about to emerge from an unexpected place. But for now, all I could do was hold on, both for myself and for the little life growing inside me. The path ahead was uncertain, filled with challenges and emotional turmoil, but I clung to the hope that somehow things would turn around. The days in the hospital passed in a blur of anxiety and exhaustion. The doctors were monitoring me closely, and each visit brought a mix of relief and dread. I was scared for my baby, and the stress from my strained relationship with James was only making things worse. Every day I hoped for a sign that things might improve, but the situation seemed to spiral further out of control. When I finally returned home, the atmosphere was anything but welcoming. James was distant, and his anger seemed to simmer beneath the surface. The criticism from his parents continued, their visits filled with sharp comments about my inability to keep up with household duties. Their disapproval was relentless, and I felt increasingly isolated in my own home. One afternoon, as I sat alone in the living room, trying to muster the energy to tidy up, I received an unexpected call from Caroline. She had been a loyal client and a dear friend during my time at the fashion boutique. We had lost touch after I left the job, but I remembered her warmth and kindness fondly. "Hi, Samantha, it's Caroline. I heard about what you've been going through, and I just wanted to check in on you." Her voice was soothing and genuine, a stark contrast to the harsh tones I was used to. I was taken aback but grateful for the kindness. "Hi, Caroline. I've been struggling a lot. It's been really hard with everything going on, especially with James and his parents." "I can only imagine," Caroline said sympathetically. "Listen, I want to help. I have an apartment available in a quiet area of Seattle. It's rent-free, and I think it might be just what you need right now. You can stay there until you get back on your feet." Her offer was a lifeline I hadn't expected. I felt a wave of relief and gratitude wash over me. "Thank you, Caroline. I don't know what to say. That's incredibly generous." "It's no trouble at all," Caroline reassured me. "You've always been such a kind person. Let's make a plan for you to move in. I want you to focus on your health and the baby." As soon as I hung up, I felt a spark of hope that had been missing for so long. The idea of escaping the constant criticism and stress from James and his parents was exhilarating. I began to make arrangements for the move, eager to find some peace and stability in Caroline's apartment. The move itself was a whirlwind of activity. With help from a few friends, I packed up the essentials and said goodbye to the stressful environment I had been living in. The apartment Caroline offered was a haven of calm, nestled in a quieter part of the city. It felt like a fresh start, and for the first time in a long while, I allowed myself to feel a sense of relief. Things began to take a turn when I met Olivia, Caroline's daughter. Olivia worked at James's company, and I learned that she had witnessed James's inappropriate behavior at work. She had reported it, leading to his demotion. Olivia's intervention was a crucial step in holding James accountable for his actions. Olivia came to visit me at the apartment soon after I moved in. "Hi, Samantha. I'm so glad you're settling in," she said, her presence radiating warmth and sincerity. "It's been a huge relief, I admit. I'm really grateful for all the support from your mom. It's given me a chance to breathe." Olivia nodded, her expression serious. "I wanted to let you know that I'm here for you, too. I've seen how James has treated you, and it's unacceptable. If you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out." Her support was comforting. Olivia's actions at work had significantly impacted James, and her willingness to stand by me added another layer of hope to my situation. As the days went by, I found myself slowly regaining my strength. The apartment was a peaceful sanctuary, and the support from Caroline and Olivia made me feel less alone. Despite this newfound support, I knew that there were still many challenges ahead. James's reactions and the constant judgment from his parents had left deep scars. The emotional toll was significant, and I was uncertain about what the future would hold. But as I settled into this new chapter, I began to envision a future. where I could reclaim my independence and build a better life for myself and my baby. Little did I know that the struggle was far from over. The road ahead would require more resilience, and the battles would continue. But for now, I had a glimmer of hope and the strength to face whatever came next. Life in Seattle felt like a new beginning. The apartment Caroline had generously provided was a sanctuary of calm, a stark contrast to the chaos I had left behind. For the first time in months, I felt a semblance of normalcy as I settled into my new routine, focusing on my health and the upcoming birth of my baby. But even in this newfound peace, the shadows of my past still loomed large. James continued to reach out, his messages and phone calls a mix of anger and regret. I had decided to cut off direct communication with him, finding solace in the support of Caroline and Olivia. They had become my pillars of strength, helping me navigate the complexities of my situation. One day, as I was organizing the nursery, my phone rang. It was Olivia. I answered with a mix of curiosity and apprehension. "Hi, Olivia. What's up?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. "Samantha, I need to talk to you." Olivia's tone was serious. "There's been a situation with your father-in-law. He's been trying to claim the baby as the family's heir, and it's causing a lot of trouble." My heart sank. The idea of my father-in-law asserting control over my child was deeply unsettling. "What exactly is happening?" I asked, trying to keep my voice calm. "He's been making claims that the baby should be considered the family's heir due to some old family traditions," Olivia explained. "He's putting pressure on your lawyers and causing quite a scene. I thought you should know." My thoughts raced. The last thing I needed was more conflict, especially involving my baby. "Thank you for letting me know, Olivia. I'll talk to my lawyer about this immediately." As soon as I hung up, I called my lawyer to discuss the situation. The pressure from James's family was mounting, and I needed to ensure that my rights were protected. My lawyer advised me to stay firm and assertive in my position. I couldn't let the family's outdated notions dictate my future or that of my child. In the midst of these legal battles, James made one final attempt to reconcile. He showed up at my apartment unannounced, his demeanor a mix of desperation and anger. "Samantha, we need to talk," James said, his voice tense as he stood in the doorway. I took a deep breath, trying to maintain my composure. "James, I don't think there's anything left to say. You had your chance to support me, and you failed." "I know I messed up," James admitted, his eyes pleading. "But I want to make things right. Let's work this out. I wanted to be a family again." His words were laced with regret, but they felt hollow after everything that had happened. "It's too late, James. You've hurt me in ways that can't be undone. I'm moving forward, and I need to focus on what's best for me and my baby." His face fell, and he turned to leave, a mix of frustration and sadness evident. "I hope you know what you're doing, Samantha." Watching him walk away, I felt a surge of resolve. I had made the right decision, even if it was one of the hardest choices I'd ever had to make. As the days passed, Caroline and Olivia continued to support me through the challenges. Olivia's presence was particularly reassuring. She had become a close friend, someone who understood the intricacies of my situation and offered practical advice and emotional support. One evening, while we were having dinner, Olivia brought up an important topic. "Samantha, I've been thinking about the future. Have you considered what you want to do once the baby is born?" I had given it some thought, but the uncertainties of my situation made planning difficult. "I'm not entirely sure. I want to focus on my baby, but I also hope to return to work eventually. I just don't know how or when." Olivia nodded thoughtfully. "It's important to have a plan, even if it's just a rough idea. Caroline and I will be here to support you, but having a goal might help you stay focused." Her words were a reminder that I wasn't alone in this journey. With Caroline's support and Olivia's friendship, I began to think more clearly about my future. I knew that the path ahead would be challenging, but I felt a renewed sense of determination. As the legal battles with James's family continued, I stood my ground, confident that I had the support I needed to protect my rights and the well-being of my baby. The struggle was far from over, but with each passing day, I felt more equipped to face the obstacles in my path. My focus remained on building a stable and nurturing environment for my child, and the support of the women in my life gave me the strength to keep moving forward. The day I had been waiting for finally arrived. After months of legal battles, emotional turmoil, and personal growth, it was time for my baby to make her entrance into the world. The days leading up to the birth were a whirlwind of anticipation and preparation. Caroline and Olivia were by my side, providing unwavering support. On the day of the delivery, I was surprisingly calm, a stark contrast to the chaos that had characterized my pregnancy. Caroline had insisted on accompanying me to the hospital, while Olivia took charge of making sure everything was in order for when I returned home. As I was wheeled into the delivery room, I looked at Caroline, who gave me a reassuring smile. "You've got this, Samantha. We're all here for you." The labor was intense, but I found strength in the thought of the new life I was about to welcome. After hours of effort, my baby girl finally arrived. Hearing her first cries was the most beautiful moment of my life. I held her in my arms, overwhelmed with love and relief. When Caroline and Olivia visited me in the hospital, their joy was palpable. "She's beautiful, Samantha," Caroline said, her eyes moist with happiness. "You did an amazing job." As I held my daughter close, I felt a deep sense of accomplishment. The struggles and challenges I had faced seemed distant, overshadowed by the joy of this new chapter. The following weeks were a blend of sleepless nights and tender moments. Caroline's apartment was now my temporary home, and it felt like a true sanctuary. Olivia frequently stopped by, offering help with the baby and providing company. Their support made the transition to motherhood smoother and less daunting. James made one final attempt to re-enter my life. He showed up at my apartment, his face haggard and filled with regret. "Samantha, I know I've made a mess of things. I just wanted to be a part of our daughter's life." I looked at him, feeling a mixture of sadness and resolve. "James, I appreciate your desire to be involved, but I can't forget how you treated me during my pregnancy. It's too late for us." His shoulders slumped and he nodded, accepting my decision. "I understand. I just want to be sure she knows I care about her." We discussed a fair arrangement for visitation and child support, ensuring that our daughter would have a stable and loving environment, even if her parents were no longer together. It was a practical solution that allowed me to move forward without the burden of unresolved issues. As time passed, I started to consider my options outside of raising a family. Caroline and Olivia encouraged me to begin making plans for a comeback to my work. I used to flourish in the boutique sector, so as I thought about what to do next, I had a fresh sense of purpose. Caroline was a great source of encouragement. "Samsa, take your time. Now concentrate on your child, and when you're ready, we'll assist you in returning to your desired state." I felt secure in my abilities to manage parenting and a rewarding profession with her advice. Olivia stayed a close friend, and as we worked through life's obstacles together, our friendship got stronger. James had to deal with the fallout from his actions on a personal and professional level. His actions had finally caught up with him, and he was starting to feel the consequences of his decisions. It served as a reminder that decisions I made were based on strength and integrity, and that actions have repercussions. As I reflected on my voyage, I was pleased with the fortitude and self-reliance I had developed. New beginnings were symbolized by my baby girl, and the love and support of the women who had supported me were priceless. I became more at ease in my mothering job and enthusiastic about the prospects that were ahead with every day. I realized that even with all of the challenges, I had created a new path for my child and myself as I observed my daughter sleeping soundly. I faced the future with optimism and determination, buoyed by the generosity and courage of those around me. Though my tale was far from ended, I was prepared to face whatever lay ahead thanks to the ladies in my life.